Hello, Tim from Fairplay now on the 31st of October 2024. So yesterday in this country we had our annual budget presented by the Chancellor of the Exchequer, which is basically the UK's finance minister. And yeah, not very exciting, not very good, just more taxes. And one of the very few benefits to ordinary people that I could see really is a penny off a pint of beer down the pub. That might have meant something kind of back in the 60s or 70s when a pint of beer was 15p. Probably a reduction down to 14p might be worthwhile, might be kind of something. But when it's £4 a pint, having 1p taken off that isn't a lot, isn't really worth anything. And the fact that they're trying to make a thing of it just shows how pathetic they really are, doesn't it? So I'm not going to dwell anymore on the budget. I'm sure you've seen and been bored by it all already. So what I thought I'd do, just for a bit of fun, is to present my own alternative budget, Tim's budget, or the Fairplay Now budget, whatever you want to call it. So let's go. So how about we get rid of pretty much every single tax out there? I think the only thing I would keep is a little bit of a sales tax, VAT, but that would just be 10% only on new goods, not any second-hand goods whatsoever, but only on new non-essential goods. So food wouldn't be subject to it, energy bills wouldn't be subject to it, baby stuff, etc., all that kind of thing, clothing wouldn't be VAT-able. But as I say, it would only be on new non-essential stuff that would be VAT-able at 10%. And the only other tax I would keep is income tax, but that would be capped at 10% across the board for everybody, and you would just pay 10% of your annual earnings, and that would be it. So you might be watching this and thinking, how on earth would the government be able to pay for everything they spend money on? You know, how would the police and military cope? How would the NHS and schools cope? Well, very simple. Basically, I think the government could cut their spending by about 90%, and if it's done in the right areas, i.e. the nonsense areas that they waste money on, I think it could be achieved very easily, and we could still have a great educational system, a very good health service, a very good police service, military, whilst paying those levels of taxes that I've just mentioned. Of course, so many of the other rubbish things would go, as far as I'm concerned. All of the woke stuff would go, all of the propaganda would go, of course, sort of all of the nonsense schemes and ridiculous things they spent money on over fake lurgies, that would go. Fake lurgies themselves would be a thing of the past, of course, so we'd be saving lots of money on stupid things like furloughs and tracking schemes, whatever. What was that thing called where trace and track, or track and trace, whatever it was, which cost 39 billion. Obviously we wouldn't have things like that. Moving on, of course, we wouldn't be paying membership fees to the WHO, the WEF, the UN, and anything else that we pay out money internationally on. I'd keep all of the money here in this country, And yeah, sorry, foreign aid would have to go as well. I think that we should be looking after people in this country, and only when we've got this country sorted and we've got a bit of a surplus should we be thinking of sending money abroad, and then we'd make doubly sure that it's actually going to a good cause and doing what it should be doing, rather than just lining the pockets of corrupt officials abroad. So that'd be another thing. Of course, a big one would be an end to all wars or any UK involvement in any wars, whether it's direct actual fighting or indirect, sending money to various other countries to help them in their wars. All of that would be gone. And yeah, the amount of money we'd save just in those areas alone would be incredible. Of course, things like the police service, the NHS, education, out would go all of the woke nonsense, all of the inefficiencies, all of those things, or most of them are very top heavy, way too many chiefs, not enough workers. So that'd all be reformed, streamlined, and they would be kind of run by the kind of people who should be running these things, sort of, such as the matrons in hospitals, for instance, rather than all of these bureaucrats, many of them who don't really know anything about medicine at all, and there they are trying to run a health service. Absolutely stupid and ridiculous as far as I'm concerned. So I'm sure you can probably think of many other ways that money could be saved as well. That I haven't mentioned here. I've only scratched the surface, haven't I? And if there's still a little bit of a deficit with the levels of tax that I'm proposing and what needs to be done in this country, well, here's a good little scheme. Why don't we just get the likes of Charlie Boy to actually do a bit of work for a change, do a bit of good for a change, and suggest to him that he might want to devote 1% of his annual income to helping something like the NHS, to build a couple of new hospitals. And then what he could do is, once he's doing that, he could then go to all of his rich crony mates, the ultra rich, the aristocracy, etc., and tell them to match his 1%. He could just say, look, I'm putting 1% into the NHS of my annual income. Now, if you do the same, I will first of all give you a knighthood. Actually giving out knighthoods for a good cause rather than corrupt ones. And then on top of that, I'd invite you and your family to one of my sort of Buckingham Palace shindigs, and I might even give you a few other baubles, maybe a signed autograph of myself. So yeah, and obviously all of these things to us, me and you watching this, such things would be a load of old BS, a load of nonsense. But to a lot of these ultra rich people, it'd mean a lot, and they would probably be falling over themselves. Yeah, I'll give 1% of my annual income to these just causes, like the NHS. If you give me a knighthood, etc., yeah, count me in on that one. I'm sure they would get a lot, and that would bring in a lot of money to the NHS, education, whatever else we need to bring money in for. And if they, Charlie Boy and the rest of them refuse point blank, they say, oh no, we all of that stuff sounds far too good for what we want. We prefer to spend our money on evil things. Well, it then be in black and white, plain as day, whatever cliche you want to say, just how evil and corrupt they really are. They would just be showing themselves up for the true nature that they've got, wouldn't they? So anyway, that's just a brief rundown of my alternative budget. Tell me what you think in the comment section below here, and I'll be back soon. Oh, and by the way, if you've wondered why I'm so well, a bit light on the video content at the moment, it's because I'm very, very busy with work. I've been absolutely caning it, and yeah, I've worked all the previous week, all last weekend, all this week so far, and getting home knackered. So yeah, the videos have taken a bit of a back seat recently, but hopefully things should calm down in the not too distant future, and you know, that will mean I'll get a few more videos coming your way. So until then, I'll leave it. Back soon. Tim from Fair Play Now. Thanks for watching.